like you to tell us about how you got together the members for the current band.
Very quickly.
How long did it take you?
2 weeks.
And did you do this all in New York?
Yeah.
And who are they?
Oh, God. Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
You've been asked for this one a few times.
Yeah, but I mean, I give all their names written out and all that.
Okay.
It's just boring.
Uh-huh. Well, how did you meet up with them, though?
Just like, just through, like, word of mouth, because we didn't want to, like, advertise in the papers and all that, because you get every cunt in the world turning up, so... Just word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
People we knew. And they were the best of the bunch.
Yeah, I thought it's like, what was your criteria for selecting the band members?
Talent, rather than looks.
Simply as musicians?
Yeah, absolutely.
And have these guys been musicians for a long time now? Are they very... In what sort of bands?
So you'll have to ask them. I wouldn't be voicing opinions for them. Ask them individually. They've all like worked in loads of different outfits. Tenure Tuckers, God knows who.
So, yeah, more. Sign off. Are you going to continue with the same band for quite a while then?
For the moment. They'll be involved tomorrow.
Well, how long will this tour last for the time being?
Well, just there's a few more gigs and a few things to do, yeah. We should be back in America by the 15th.
And will you do dates in America when you get back there?
Eventually, yeah, but like straight into the studio to finish off our album, which is far more important.
So that's basically the materials all set aside for that?
Oh yeah, it's almost finished.
The album itself is almost finished?
Yeah.
The backup, well not the backup, the rest of the band members were nothing but the suits and the bow ties. Whose idea was that? Is that it? So
That says it all.
that says it all.
Can I have a decent cigarette, perchance?
Oh. Can I mention the now?
What? Deliberately, because I mean, people pay more attention these days to the clothes you wear rather than anything else. So to fucking come out in dicky bows and look like a cocktail jazz outfit was very, very wacky and good. And it, like, I mean, the look on people's faces the first night that they trotted out was they thought they'd gone to see Barry Manilow. And I liked that.
But you yourself weren't in a suit and necktie.
No, you wouldn't get me in one of those.
Why's that?
Well, you would, but not in my size. They don't seem to fit. I'm quite plump these days.
You don't look it.
I'm plump by my standards.
The stage arrangements differed from the album arrangements. What was the intention behind this?
What?
The stage arrangements differed from the album arrangements of the songs, that is.
Oh, I mean, like, the whole thing about doing a song live is not to totally imitate what you've recorded on record, but to improve on it, and whatever suits the atmosphere at the time. I mean, that's what the music's about, isn't it? Surely.
いや、なぜステージでやるかというとね、それぞれの曲をいかにああいうふうに
ライブのアレンジというのはやってるのか。
So the arrangements on stage are always a bit more beefed up.
There's a looseness. I mean, we could go strictly according to the record, but that wouldn't be much fun night after night, and I'd recommend that the people buy the record then in that case.
いや、ステージでね、レコード通りに、コマーシャルが、ね、この日本 it feels there's a bit more of a commercial sort of feeling to the music this time around.
What would you mean by that? I'd say everything we've ever done is commercial.
どういう意味なのか。今までやってきたのは全部 always had that intention of making a very commercial product.
No, I make records to sell to as many people as I can. I mean, that's my business. If I don't do that, then I'm a fool. I don't believe in cults and all that nonsense and art for art's sake. I want to get the message across
Did you basically haven't changed the philosophy then behind
No,
what
of
you're
course
doing?
not.
Well, not.
喉ないと僕は
He's been given to believe that in the song, this is not a love song. You say you're going for a more commercial type thing.
It's done in a very poppy way, but the lyrics are well wicked.
What do you mean by that?
Read the lyric sheet, buy the record, and find out for yourself.
Well, I think that's what his interpretation. He took it at face value. I think.
Well, no, it goes much deeper than that.
Yeah,
All my lyrics do. That's what I write them for. That's why I spend so long on them.
俺の詩っていうのは非常に時間かけて
分かってないと
Cover.
本だって表紙だけ。Heard you're going to take the tapes from this Japan concert tour and make it into a live album.
Yeah.
When would that be?
We're recording tomorrow night's show. We're going to video it and record it live.
And that will be coming out after this studio album that's almost done now.
Or before, whichever.
You haven't decided yet?
No. I mean, we're loose about those kind of things. Whichever's the best. I hate limiting myself to schedules. I can't stand it. I hate getting up on time.
Yeah, もちろん出さなくちゃいけない。
じゃあね
Why do you want to use the Japanese concerts for a live album?
Because we're here and we're doing them live. We won't have much time in the next few months to be doing any live stuff, so we might as well do it now.
Yeah,
Last concert we did in LA before we came here, so it'd be really good just to compare the two things. I mean, us in America and us here, the audiences are very different.
Pretend that the Japanese fans didn't quite know how to react to you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What do you
They'll
think?
learn.
What do you think was behind that?
I don't know. Suspicion, lack of education. I don't know. I mean, like, it's my first time here, and they're more curious than anything. And I can't explain it. It's weird. I feel like I'm being observed more than anything.
Is this the first time that's happened to you?
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, when I first started, it was very much the same thing in England. But very much the same, kind of like, God, what's he doing? I mean, when I jump into the audience, they all like run away from me, like I'm about to kill them.
Is that right?
Yeah. But I mean, what other gigs we've done here? What the other towns? The other towns that we've done, I can't remember their names. But the wacky one, where it was just total, absolutely out. The crowd, they went bizarre.
In Japan?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, they went wild. It was great. Or is it Nagoya?
Osaka?
Osaka.
Yeah. Osaka
In Tokyo, feel the need to pretend to be more sophisticated. I don't know.
Also enough information here.
Yeah, but they don't know how to use it.
The thing is, he said
they collect all these bits of information and they don't seem to connect them together.
That kind of overlaps with what he was saying. He says they know that the John Lydon from the Sex Pistols and John Lydon from PAL, and sort of never the twain shall meet. So they don't know which one they're going to come up against when you come here.
So I gave them both. I mean, I've done Sex Pistols songs live here, and that shocks them in Tokyo very much. And well, the last gig, I don't think they even recognised them. That this was the totally pill audience. They weren't aware of that past. Whereas in the other towns they were.
Did you try to feature more of the Sex Pistols?
No, I mean, I just did it because I wrote the songs anyway, right? I mean, and I thought they fitted in quite well. There's no great big philosophy behind that. They're my songs. I'm entitled to do them, and I will at my leisure. But I won't do them in America.
Oh, really?
No, because they demand it there.
So you won't
and
do
that's
it.
why I won't do it.
Whereas you don't think they expect it here, so you do it.
Yes, exactly. I won't ever be told what to do.
Is that right?
Yes.
Because you don't see it on the surface, but they're actually demanding that you play the Pistol stuff here, probably.
Well, I'm not aware of it, so that's fine by me. What you don't know doesn't hurt you.
So you don't dislike doing the Pistols numbers?
No, of course not. I just don't like to be demanded of it. Right? I'm a very awkward person like that. I've all my life been thrown out of schools and ended up in jail for that kind of thing. But I stick to my guns.
Question, but what was the Pistols to you?
Me, and only me.
Really?
No, it was all right. I mean, I never thought it'd take off, and actually it never really did until the day the band ceased to function. And that's when it sold in huge amounts outside of England.
Well,
it was very misunderstood, and people paid more attention to the manager and his bullshit than the band who were actually writing and doing the songs.
What was his part in it, though?
Hindsight. The press had a complete freedom. They could write whatever they wanted, and we denied nothing. There was no clever scheme. There was no scam. There was none of that bullshit that's been written. Incidents happen, but they're not planned that way. You don't plan to go on television and swear because the man is so damn rude to you that that's all he deserves.
They were rude to you?
Oh yeah, very. And usually still are. TV interviews can be a real pain, because they like to put you on the spot. And I can't be put on the spot. I've got a wicked mouth.
Where did this thing about the great rock and roll swindle originate?
That came after. When I quit. That was Malcolm then fucking about.
Just that was his. Was it the whole thing was his own scheme?
There was no Sex Pistols at that time.
And then he just made up the whole thing about rock and roll swindles and how it was a whole plan.
Hindsight. Very, very easy thing to do. Hindsight. It's just a shame that people paid more attention to that than the relevant bits and pieces.
Was that your first experience as a professional musician?
My first experience of professional con artists like Malcolm McLaren.
Had you been performing before that, though?
No, never.
Never?
No.
But you wrote the songs for the Pistols?
Yeah.
And you'd had no musical experience before that?
No.
Then how did you first meet up with music then?
It's very easy. I mean, you're given 3 chords to work with. God's sake. Anyone could do it, but my lyrics were slightly very much different than the norm.
So you never planned on being a musician even when you were a kid?
No. Pure chance. I mean, it was Bernie Rhodes who spotted me, the Clash's manager. And he said, get him, he looks like he could be a singer. Because I had this T-shirt on and I hate Pink Floyd.
Well, what were you doing at the time?
And he thought, wow. Because, that was, I don't know, apparently an outrageous thing to do at the time. I mean, to me it was just very natural. I really did hate them. And I didn't mind declaring it.
Well, what were you doing at the time?
Nothing, I was unemployed.
How old are you?
About 17.
17. And what did you plan on doing? What sort of job?
I had no future. I had no idea what I'd be doing. So it was luck that I got into this business, so I was very grateful for that. And ever since then I've enjoyed nothing more than making records.
Are you still on good terms with Bernie Rhodes?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know Bernie very well.
What sort of jobs were you doing before he spotted you?
I worked in a sewerage farm.
What farm?
Sewerage farm.
Sewerage farm?
Where they filter the shit.
Oh. Explains that.
My job was the rat catcher.
And what before that?
Shoe salesman.
Well, you were like only 15 or 16?
Yeah.
When did you leave school?
I didn't leave, I was thrown out.
How old were you then?
About 14.
And never went back again?
I took a course for a year in college because they told me that I didn't stand a chance of passing any of the exams, so I Well, just to prove it to myself, I went and took them all and I passed all of them. I've got a series of credentials. But I did that, just to prove to them that they were fucking wrong.
Where was this all happening? Was this in
London?
And were you living with your parents the whole time?
Yeah. No, they kicked me out at 15.
At 15? So you've been on your own since you were 15?
Yeah. That's not usual in England. That's quite common.
It's common.
Yeah. I mean, your parents don't like the way you look, so you fucking move.
We have one request here. Ooh. It is quite common. So, and a lot of people your friends and whatnot.
I left home at an early age. Really, everybody does it in England. You have to get away from that family monopoly over your life as quickly as possible. And if you don't make it on your own, you ain't going to do it at all.
Even if you live in London, and your family is also living in London as well?
Yeah, but, I don't have to live in the same house as them, do I? I mean, that doesn't stop me liking them either.
So,
you know that adolescence that you go through. It's very relevant to go out and stand up on your own 2 feet.
Do you have brothers and sisters of the same age?
No, they didn't follow suit, and that's why they've gotten themselves nowhere fast.
Is that right?
I mean, my old man, my father, he never really spoke to me at all until the day I left home. He was very glad that I did, not to get rid of me, but that I could do it.
There's a kind of a communication gap here between, especially fathers and children in this country as well. Is that a common thing in England?
Yeah. I'm not telling you.
No way.
Vanity.
You and I. Did you had any image of what you'd be at the age of 24 when you were 13?
No idea at all.
No idea at all?
No, and I don't know what I'll be doing in the next 10 years either. I don't plan my life like that. It's very wrong to do it that way. You find yourself getting trapped.
What are your aspirations then?
To do what I want and to enjoy doing it. As long as I'm not hurting anyone, that's fine. I mean, really, it's hard to be humble when you know you don't mean it. I'm advancing civilization.
Oh. Congratulations. Yeah, so when you were in the Pistols, had you had some idea what sort of music you'd be doing next?
No.
You didn't know
I knew the Sex Pistols was too limited, really. There was much more in the world that I wanted to be taking part in than just that.
How long was the gap between the Pistols and the evolution of PIO?
3 months.
And during that time, had you a concrete idea of what sort of music you'd be doing?
Yes.
So
I wrote a lot of Pill songs while in the Pistols. They wouldn't do them. They couldn't cope with them.
What do you mean by that?
Well, they wanted me to just write verse, chorus type things. Well, I wanted to experiment and have fun. I mean, that's what music should be. It's just a release from your tensions. Well, I can't be limited by a verse-chorus structure. I mean, it's not fair.
So, did you actually assemble the members of Pill yourself then?
Yeah.
And had you put them to the test saying, I got this kind of music, can you guys play it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I knew they could. I mean, we couldn't, the first bass player couldn't play at the time. The guitarist, he just got sacked from the Clash because of the same kind of feelings. It just worked. I mean, we all knew each other as friends, and it worked fine. We all felt that way. And Pill it's an organisation. It's more important, Pill, than any one individual in it. It's all about breaking down barriers. Don't let nobody ever tell you can't do anything, because you can.
So, did these people leave of their own accord, or?
Yeah.
That's all there is to it?
Yeah.
And it came down to just a matter of...
Just like any company, people come and people go. but that doesn't stop the company from functioning.
But why didn't they take the name Pill?
Because it's mine. My own creation.
Yeah, so this is probably going to overlap with what you just said, I'm sorry. You were basically interested in doing something else when you were with the Pistols, something along the line.
No, I wanted to advance the Pistols, but neither the manager at that time nor the rest of the group were prepared or could even understand what the hell I was trying to say to them.
So you were pretty dissatisfied with the whole thing?
Yeah, we all were. I mean, they didn't want to rehearse, they didn't want to do anything, so the whole thing fell apart. They even booked themselves into better hotels than me, and I thought, right, fuck you lot, I've had enough of this.
他のメンバーそれともオーディエンスがいる
彼がね
This is steaming up.
Speaking on his part, but if you had never met up with Malcolm McLaren, you would have never had a chance to express yourself musically?
No. If I'd never have met up with Bernie Rhodes, I'd never have had a chance to express myself musically.
Although it may be a very unpleasant thing for you, I was wondering what you had to say about Malcolm McLaren, how you would size him up.
Malcolm has a very, very intelligent brain. It's just a shame that he screws everything up through greed and he's too selfish. He doesn't share with people and he likes to give himself total credit. That's not right. I mean, I've been in and out of the courts with him over the Sex Pistols over the last 5 years, and there's no leeway in him. He claimed the name Johnny Rotten. He said it was his property. I had to go to court to fight that one. He claimed he wrote all the songs. I had to go to court to fight that one. I mean, I've won them all, and I will keep on winning because I'm right. But he's just being trivial. He's very much like that.
Well, without having any part in it whatsoever, he's saying that he wrote.
No, you see, British law is possession is 9/10 of the law. So you have to go to court to prove the bloody bleeding obvious.
But even though you know,
even though his name isn't on the copyright, I mean, he's still saying it to this very day. I mean, I'll pick up a magazine and he'll be ranting and raving about how he wrote Anarchy in the UK, and it's nonsense.
And of course, he's about the African music.
Oh wow! I mean, look how he's ripped off all that, right? You know, he's nothing to do with the music on any single track on any of those things.
Have you heard the new album?
Yeah, it's terrible. I don't like it.
What's bad about it?
It just is like a mumbo jumbo of loosely played bad ideas, with a lot of people getting ripped off left, right, and centre, and him running away with the credits.
What do you think will happen to a guy like that?
I think it will sell a lot because people are generally very silly like that. You know, it's the gimmick they go for, and it is very gimmicky. You know, he didn't even arrange the music. It was all done by Trevor Horn, the producer, and Thomas Dolby.
Thomas Dolby was in it?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Malcolm McLaren's tied up with Thomas Dolby. Is that right? You won't have me. Yeah, no. Joe Strummer, how would you sum him up?
Joe's all right, but he takes his life too serious, and because I don't like his music, he thinks that means I don't like him. I've tried to explain to him that that's not the case, but ego, I suppose, got in the way, so fuck him. You'll find that with a lot of musicians, they're very snobby. All they like to talk about is their own fucking shit. You know, your job should not get in the way.
So it seems like you're on pretty personal terms with a lot of these.
Oh yeah. I knew Joe Strummer when he was a country and western singer.
Is that right?
Yes.
Huh. That was right before the Clash.
When he used to.
He was in country and western?
Yeah.
ジャンドウェイさんのシンガーだったよ。
101.
じゃあもう一人です。
Yeah, 101.
ポルベラ。
What is it? Keys to Your Heart or something?
I know that.
Dreadful. Really, just dreadful. Well, no worse than what he's doing now.
How about Paul Weller?
I don't know him very well.
Is that right?
I know him briefly. He's just very quiet.
He's very quiet. Who are some of your other contemporaries, people you started off with, who have come to the same stature as you?
I don't know, do I? I mean, tell me, name me someone.
Well, I mean, there was a whole sort of movement.
Captain Sensible is as mad as he fucking appears to be. He really is gone. He's a nut.
Are you still on
Yes,
friendly terms with all these
yeah.
people?
Yeah.
But you're located in New York now.
I have to be.
It seems like there's sort of a big move to New York these days. A lot of people are...
Now there is. When I first went there wasn't. I mean, there's very few English people in New York. If English musicians do move to America, it's straight to LA, the swimming pool.
Yeah, and the cocaine.
Yeah. Well, I went to New York. Now there's a lot of English people there. I mean, I had to go to New York. The police were just too fucking against me.
In Britain?
Yeah.
They were against you?
Oh, yeah.
How's that?
God, I ended up in and out of jail every fucking 3 weeks. They busted my house to shit.
Why?
Suspicion. Suspicion of taking drugs. Suspicion of firearms. Suspicion of hiding runaway juveniles. Suspicion of planting bombs for the IRA. That was the worst one. I had a bomb squad at 4 a.m. tearing down the door, tearing up the floorboards. They took the bricks out of the walls. They just went berserk. And then a week later, someone decided to hang himself on the same street, a couple of houses down. They decided to come in and hold me as a suspect.
That's a suspect for a guy to hang himself.
And, it's like intimidation, really. And then the last time they raided, they did me under the Firearms Act. I had a can of mace spray, and that got me 6 months.
Isn't that illegal?
Suspended. No, it's totally illegal.
You have to register.
It's a firearm in England. It's a projectile, therefore it's a firearm. Therefore it's illegal.
Was there any justification or substance to the
No, just no.
Well, why were they so against you?
The area I was living in, off the Fulham Road, is where they train the drug squad. So they raid all houses around that area quite frequently, and it's not just me. Across the road was where a couple of Led Zeppelin's roadies lived. They got the same treatment quite continually, but with me there was a lot of maliciousness about it.
So why didn't you just move to another part of town?
I moved to another country. I moved to Ireland, where in 45 minutes, get this, I was arrested for grievous bodily harm. So I went to jail, and then I decided I'd had enough of Europe and fucked off to New York.
And you haven't been hassled since going to New York?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Now there seems to be this big wave of British musicians in New York.
Yeah, there are.
Just talked to Joe Jackson, maybe he's there, Andy Summers, that he's there. What's the big deal with New York now?
Do you know how difficult it is to run a business in England? It's impossible. If your phone breaks down, it'll take a month for it to be repaired. If you want a new phone put in, it's a 3-month waiting list. In New York, it's done within 12 hours, and that's it. And that's a long wait. It will be done the same day. You go in the morning and it's ready in the afternoon.
In terms of musical standards or the quality of the music, do you feel that any Americans are like making music of a similar nature?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I like, the rappers stuff, because it has very good lyrical content at last, which I like black music a lot, But one thing I've always complained about is that the words are terrible and all about silly love and nonsense. But I mean, like what? The message was excellent.
What sort of messages do you...
It's about real life, just about how awful it really is to live in a city. That's what the message is. And you can dance to it.
I don't know, so if people are singing about how terrible it is to live in a city...
No, listen, when you complain about something, you make it better. You state the case. There then is room for improvement. By pretending it's not happening, things just stay the same. I know this. This is my philosophy. I've been doing it all my life and it works very well, believe me.
That's a little bit. Do you think a group like The Clash, who incorporate political messages into their music, have any sort of real effective bearing?
No, because they don't deal with their own problems. They fuck about in, third world countries, like Sardinista, that kind of stuff. Well, listen, if you're going to mess about with politics, know what you're talking about, because you're stepping on other people's feet there. They made a really, really tragically bad mistake when they went to Belfast. See, I'm Catholic, but they went there and stood up totally for the Catholics. But there's both sides of the border there, like that have grievances. You can't just stand in the middle of Belfast and say, get the Protestants out of Ireland. I mean, they've been there for 400 years. They're as Irish as you can get. Don't do that.
They were bargaining up the wrong tree.
Yeah. And these people live there. They know their own situation. They don't need a bunch of outsiders walking in and in 12 hours declaring what's wrong with Northern Ireland. It's, you can't do it.
Well, their mistakes notwithstanding, do you think anything else
they've been doing it all the time. Every time they get involved with politics, they're more involved with the sloganeering of it than the actual content, and that's not good. I don't like that at all.
Do you feel that sort of rhetoric from a lot of these bands?
Yes, I do. And I don't like it.
If there are any bands that are actually carrying out, have an effectual bearing on what's happening, like doing in effect what the Clash are trying to do.
Bob Marley did for a time, most definitely. He did make reggae music international, which is what it was all about. Grandmaster Flash with The Message brought black street funk music to a large audience of all colours. I suppose that would be about it. I can't think of any more off the top of my head.
What about in more specific terms, say in actual social movements? Like the Clash tried to
Well, the Clash want to be like, reggae is to black people in England. That's their ambition. But by imitating reggae and imitating rockabilly and imitating soul and jazz, they're not getting anywhere. They have no cultural basis of their own. It's like, they're like robbers. They're like thieves in the night. They just steal and take from everyone else, and they give nothing of their own.
Harsh word.
No, serious. I mean it.
So you feel the bands that are giving your stuff like Grandmaster Flash, Bob Marley?
Yeah, because it's from their soul. They fucking mean it. There's no like fobbing about. They're not trying to. I mean, if Bob Marley came out, say like Kiss, I mean, wouldn't that be dreadful?
You put it in those terms. What about?
So that's how I see the Clash. Really, it's that kind of incongruity. I don't like it.
Well, you've covered like the third wheel with Bob Marley or Black America, which is often considered a sort of a semi-part of the third wheel. What about for like white Britain, white
There's
America?
very few white people that are proud of their own culture. See, I respect black music, but I'm white, and I want to make white music. That's how you get black people to respect you, surely. Not by imitating them. They don't like that at all. You know, with the, say, the message and that rap kind of music and that Wheels of Steel scratch music, as you know, where they fucking dub the records live. I mean, when Malcolm goes and fucking imitates that, as he did with Buffalo Girls, he destroys its potency. He waters it down.
How's that though? What do you think?
Buffalo Girls go round the outside. I mean, how relevant? Really? And I mean, he didn't even write the words. It's off a 1930s country and western song. It's a barn dance song. I mean, really? He's done nothing. He's just insulted everything.
Changing the subject, but do you have any plans to make promotional videos?
Yeah, we'll see what this one turns out like at the concert. And if it's good enough, then bung it out. And you don't have to buy it. That's my message.
Would you just be put on the market? You wouldn't try to get it on TV or anything?
Well, in America that would come naturally, wouldn't it? MTV, they grab anything on film.
But don't they grab?
You have to stop them, actually.
Is that right? They'll just play anything?
Yeah.
Would they play
MTV is just like a series of commercials, musical commercials, really.
Will you have a top 40 hit?
I don't know.
Do you think anything in any of your songs? Or?
I think they all should be.
Should be, but do you think it's possible?
Anything's possible. You can't predict that kind of thing.
What about, is it likely though?
I would hope so. It would prove that I do have something to say to a large amount of people.
I've heard you have greater interest in visual, like video. Do you have any plans other than just say simple?
Well, I did a film in Italy because of that. I wanted to see how a film was actually made. I did it with Harvey Keitel. That was great. A bloody good actor. Really. I really had to be on my toes for that one.
How did you get into that?
The Italians wanted a musician from Europe. See, initially they wanted me to just do the music, but I pushed for the film. I wanted the part because it was so great. I mean, they just wanted this mass murderer. I mean, how could I resist that? I'm up for that. And I took the screen test and I passed. I was better than, let's see who ran for it. Dave Bowie, Sting, Steve Strange, you know.
They were in the market for rock.
Yeah, but I wanted to do this film as far away from being a snobby rock personality as possible, and I surprised them greatly. I did very well.
So
it's a damn good film. I was really shocked when I seen it, the end result. You know, it's none of that Dave Bowie, like, this is my best side. You know.
Well, is it actually out?
I am just repulsive all the way through. I am the worst human being.
Is the thing already been released then?
Yeah, it will come out in England in September. It's out already in Italy. After here, I might go to Germany because they want me to promote it. And I could do it the holiday. It's an all expenses paid tour.
What's the name of the movie?
Cop Killer.
Oh. And you are the title role.
Everybody kills everyone in it at some point. There isn't a nice person in it. It's like it's a proper feature film. But it's I suppose close to a Dallas type thing.
Is it very bloody film?
Not really. It's more like an Agatha Christie gone mad.
Yeah. As much money as you wanted available, what kind of video would you make?
Bloody good one. And I know this is my limitation always. It's the story of my life. I don't ever have enough money to do exactly what I want.
Well, it's like they gave Bowie a whole trunkload of money. He went to Australia and hired the Aborigines and did Let's Dance.
Yeah. I wonder how much he paid them. Not a lot, I bet.
Well, apparently they're professional actors, so.
Are they?
Aborigines.
Oh, what a liar! That isn't what he said in an interview, because I read it. Oh, he said they were just poor people off the streets.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I heard in Rolling Stone that the Aborigines, one of the writers from Rolling Stone covered that. Well, then, do you have any idea what you'd like to do? Like, what you really want to do with video? Where you want to go?
With video, no. You're limited. I'd rather like shoot it on fucking 16 or 35. I could get away with it, and then transfer it down to video because you just get better film quality. Video is like I say, the Polaroid of the film industry.
Good fast product, but not
Yeah,
very
yeah, but you know.
Huh. Well, you always say that your problem is financial limitations. What would you do if you had the money? It wouldn't be video. What would it be?
Film.
Just film.
Yeah.
That's your big passion now.
Yeah.
Huh. Once you're hooked, well, you can't.
I know.
Huh.
I did a year studying video, and I got very bored and frustrated with it. At the end, I couldn't anymore. I just scrapped everything we did. I didn't want to use any of it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I heard you drag the video out during one concert once.
Yeah.
For PIL.
Yeah.
That was during your videos.
No, that wasn't a concert. This is a great story. This is the Ritz riot.
Yeah, right.
Right. This is they asked us, because Bow Wow Wow cancelled. I'd arrived that morning. They asked us that evening, would we fill in and show them how to use their video equipment, because they just had it installed. So we said we would. So while we were setting it up, they apparently advertised over the airwaves it was a Pill concert, which was wrong. There was no musical instruments on that stage other than a Prophet and a drum kit and a record player.
And so a bunch of people came expecting
Well,
to hear Pistols
we
songs.
used the split screen technique. We had a video console behind the screen, and we were like just wedging in different pictures of what we'd taken and other pieces of information. It was very good, like I thought. I mean, they didn't know how to use the fucking stuff.
And then halfway through, the people got kind of angry.
Yeah, very. I mean, they passed bottles out, and you know they were throwing them because they wanted a concert. But there was no way.
Didn't you announce it to them, saying, "Look, we're not here to put on a concert"?
Yeah, but I mean, they weren't interested in that.
Is that right?
It was, yeah.
Amazing.
あのね、これ
Rather odd question. You're a producer, and you're about to get started on a movie, and your lead actor is John Lydon. What type of a story would it be? What type of role? What type of script would you want?
I don't know. I mean, tell me. Offer me one and I'll tell you if I like it or
So
not.
you're more willing to accommodate than actually coming
Oh yeah, I mean that's what acting's about.
What about actually getting into script writing?
No, not for me. Too elongated and boring. I mean, there are professionals out there who can do it much better than an amateur like me. I know my limitations. I'm not a fool. I mean, that would be incredibly conceited to go writing your own film and then star in it. Oh.
Are there any screen tests coming up you want to get involved in?
No, I've given up on that for a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I'm more interested in the music, you know. I took the film because I was bored at the time of making records. And halfway through doing it, I realised I wanted to get straight back into a studio.
Is this basically a lifetime thing that you do?
Sort of, yeah.
You want to commit yourself?
I mean, I really enjoy it. I enjoy it very much. It's a shame I'm so lazy.
なんでできないって
Since becoming a professional musician, have you ever thought of quitting?
Oh, I don't think I'm a musician.
Well, you
I
make
don't
money
know.
doing it, so that makes you a musician.
Oh, that makes me a musician. Am I what? I forgot the question.
Have you thought about quitting it?
Yeah, I have.
What discouraged you?
2 weeks after you make that decision, you realise you didn't mean it at the time. It's when you run out of ideas, it's very disappointing. You just stick at it. I mean, that's life. When you've hooked yourself onto something you really enjoy, it's a pleasure to do it. I mean, it's hard work, but I mean, fucking hell, it's the easiest job in the world.
That's what keeps you in it.
Yeah.
Well, you say that after 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, it's not manual labour. I don't have to work 9 to 5. It gives me the freedom I want. And I like to express my opinions.
You say like after 2 weeks you change your mind. What's
Boredom. Now, what am I to do? Paint pretty pastel pictures?
And that brings you back.
Yeah. You know, all the alternatives aren't exciting enough for me. They don't give me enough release.
そういうことあったけどね。2週間ぐらい経つと discourage you like to feel like giving up being a musician before
The pressure in a studio to finish an album on time can be really, really extremely aggravating.
Yeah, 2
スケジュー
for
ル
one
通りにレコードを完成させることそういうプレッシャーに負けた
I will.
No, it doesn't work.
It will. Watch me now.
ミュージシャンをやめようと思ってしまうこともあると Just the whole music industry doesn't make you fed up now.
Yeah, it's an uphill climb, that's for sure. I mean, a record company can really, really try to pressurise you very much to selling out, you know, to doing what they would like you to do, but I won't do it. I enjoy the battle. That's half the fun.
Scrappy individual.
And it's, well, yeah. I mean, you know, if it's a particularly bad audience, that can be just as good as a fanatically good one.
So what, you have complete autonomy, have it say?
No, they have no say.
No say whatsoever?
None.
How did you gain such...
Through taking less money.
Oh, really? I mean, you don't demand any large...
I'm running a long-term project here. I'll, you know, reach the heights that they would love me to be at, but on my terms, and slowly but surely, without selling out, without being a cunt, without having to wear glitter suits and platform boots. I won't do it. I'll wear what I want and do what I want.
That's the way it's been, that's the way it's going to be.
Absolutely.
So we want to get some pictures now. He's got a couple more things to ask. Apparently we have to change things around, so we'll have a little extra time, and with your indulgence, maybe you can ask a couple last questions then.
I don't mind. If I could deign you with it. Oh, God.
The toughest part of being a musician.
Yep.
Back to movies there. What movies are some of your favorites here?
Hepburn, it's great. It's magnificent. Let's see what else. I liked Blade Runner.
Blade Runner?
Yeah, because of the scenes of Los Angeles in the future were just excellent. It looked really good. I hated E.T. I liked Jaws 1. What else? There was a few others I liked a lot. I can't remember them. The Peter Cook Dudley Moore film years ago, Beelzebub.
Yeah. Oh, Beelzebub.
What was it called?
They made a couple of them, if I'm not mistaken.
The one about the devil.
It was about the devil was trying to Beelzebub, man.
That's great. It's so funny. Tony Hancock, let's see, what was that called? Damn. The Rebel. Tony Hancock. It was a comedy. It's very funny.
Another British film.
Yeah.
What about directors? Do you have any favorite? Or just go by movie?
I go by movies. I tend not to follow one director too long. I don't like John Carpenter at all.
Grotesque.
No, just not good enough. I mean, it's too cheap. You know, it's 42nd Street Playhouse stuff. You know, not good enough for me.
That seems to be why a lot of people enjoy him, but like this.
No, I mean, I keep being told that it's genuinely frightening, and I laugh. I can't believe that they know what they're talking about. Oh, The Exorcist I liked. That was good. That was scary.
What's frightening?
Let me try and remember now. There's quite a lot of 1940s, 30s films that I really do like. They have such a weird feeling, films of that time, right? Those like very stagey, but very short, sharp, and to the point. You know. See, I like films where the dialogue like can go two ways. You know, it's all smart-ass one-liners. See, that's what The Lion in Winter was. The more you watch it, the more you learn, and the more confused you get because the double meanings and irony, and I love all those things. It's scripts, I suppose, then I like more than the film.
Do you get a lot of those 30s, 40s films back in Britain?
All the time.
Yeah, right.
All the time.
Because, you know, in the States, of course, you know, all-night TV is nothing but 30s and 40s and 50s films.
No, you get it in the afternoon now.
Yeah, that.
But, yeah, literally all the time, man. The American culture, you're brought up with it.
Is that right?
Yeah. But it's very weird, American films, you're given no idea what the country's like. You know,
Is that right?
you can watch Starsky and Hutch a million times and you still won't know America.
Is that right?
No indication at all. You get no idea of the hugeness. And
What's your matter?
You're seeing the what is it called? The blow-up.
blow up.
そうですね。
誰だっけ？
アントニオニでしょ。アントニオニ。
Was that the one with John Travolta in, or was that Blowout?
Yeah, that was Blow-Up. Yeah. Blow-Up was
Blow Up was Anthony Hopkins, wasn't it?
It was made, I think, in like late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
And the Yardbirds and the music.
I didn't like it, but I liked the Yardbirds scene. He's smashing the guitar.
Yeah, その映画は好きじゃないけどね。Did you have any sort of musicians that were heroes when you were a kid?
Alice Cooper. Really, I thought it was very funny live. Really.
That was the kind of stuff you were into, the heavy-handed, heavy metal.
No, I wouldn't say Alice Cooper is heavy metal.
Well, it was kind of that. Well, it was really heavy stuff.
It was a piss take of just. It was like what the Rocky Horror. Did you see the film?
Yeah, I've seen part of it.
Same kind of thing. It was
Parody.
yeah, and Alice Cooper was a parody.
So you've always had a sort of taste for the humorous parodies and not only movies but music.
If they're done with content and you know, like they come across as they really mean it.
Did you have any like heroes when you were like singing?
No, I can honestly say I didn't.
Is that right?
None at all. I don't treat music like that. I buy records because I like them.
Really?
And the rest is, you know, just waffle and rapping.
Interesting.
Sense.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean that's the way it should be. Hey, black music, you never know who did what. It doesn't matter either.
Did you ever want to be like anybody though? Any of these guys?
I didn't want to be black, no, if that's what you mean.
Well, Boy George said he used to lock himself up in his room and be like Mark Bolan holding a tennis racket.
I can believe it.
You were never like that.
No, that's just silly. I used to like Mark Bolan though. He was very good in his early days. Yeah.
Really?
Bowie used to be quite good and all, very early. Now I don't know.
It seems like people of our age, all the British people I've met, they like Bolan, they like Bowie, and a lot of them like Alice Cooper as well. And of course I would like Brian Ferry as well.
Oh, early Roxy music was hysterically good. They were so funny.
Harris. Oh, 818-0298.
Because it was so good. I really enjoyed it. It was about this awful, terrible, stuck-up, snobby Italian movie star. Her career was nowhere when she married this very good, very popular script writer. And then when her career took off and his dropped, their relationship changed very dramatically. And he ended up despising, loathing and hating her. And he was wrong, she was wrong for the way she behaved. It was really very good.
How did public...
That's what it was called, the public image. I mean, that's what he couldn't stand. The public image wasn't the real her. That's, you know, the phoniness of it all.
Why the limited?
Because of this business, like, so they used to call companies, instead of cooperated, it'd be limited.
Yeah.
なんだってなんか最初
You wrote an interview once, you referred to the Japanese, I think it was ants or worker ants or something of that sort.
Yeah, I really do believe it. It's like everybody works for the whole of the country here, and that's very good. But they're going to conquer the world.
Has your impression changed at all since coming here?
This is reinforced. In Japan, it's very, very efficient, really, and that's not something to be despised. It's something to look up to. They take all these outside influences and they make them their own, and they're not seen as a threat to them. It's very good for that, you know, where the English are going downhill very fast because they cannot absorb outside influences. They feel threatened by them and things just don't get done because of that.
You've probably been around to a lot of cities around the world. What cities have you hated the most?
Practically anywhere in Sweden, Scandinavia I can't stand. Because it's so bland and it's just, you know, the food is so dreadful and the people are very peculiar. They're like cardboard cutouts.
It was quite pleasant.
I didn't like it.
Scandinavia, where else?
I don't like Belgium. I hate France.
Hate France?
Yeah. I can't stand their snobbishness.
Will you ever go back there?
Yeah. Briefly.
Yeah.
May I eat?
Yes, of course.
Business.
You know, there's human beings there as well. I'm talking very general. I don't like to do that. But, you know, you've asked me a very open question. Well, I care more about the people than the actual architecture or any of that. That's irrelevant to me. I don't care if there's nice buildings or just square blocks.
What have you thought of Tokyo?
Huge. Bloody huge. Where's the centre in this town? There doesn't appear to be one.
That's the thing, there's no. There are a few centres. There's like about 4 or 5 of them.
But it's very much like London. It's all over the place. It's everywhere. But it's just huge. It's just.
Twice the
size of London.
Yeah, must be.
It's not very urban looking.
I don't know what it looks. It just looks peculiar.
Have you looked at any Japanese TV since coming here?
I always buy Sony Trinitrons. So I've got 3 of them.
No, I mean since coming here.
Oh, watching Japanese TV. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to make of it, do I? I mean, nice colours, but the adverts are even worse than American adverts, and I never thought that could be possible. Really, the most peculiar things they do is.
A lot of it's very precious, very precious.
You know, like Zorro chocolate bars, and there's like wearing like the Zorro mask, and you see the slant eyes underneath. It just doesn't look right. It looks ludicrous. Zorro, yeah. They're just very strange. They don't seem to make sense. And there's always a little girl standing next to the announcer going, "Hi, hi."
You're very observant.
Oh, hi.
You're very observant.
Operas, in a traditional garb is hysterical.
Oh yeah.
Really, You know, 15th century soap operas right before your very eyes. I find that fascinating.
それでこう普通の色メロなんだ。Apparently there's a lot more violence here in Japanese TV than in the States or England. Have you seen anything like that?
No, English TV is the most violent in the world.
Is that right?
Yeah, and it's the most sex-orientated.
Is that right?
Yeah, oh, yeah, death a minute. You
Can they show tits on
Yeah,
TV?
they do frequently.
Was that right?
And the new channel, the fourth one, they swear all the way through it, all night. Here's the next fucking programme. They do it, you know, more for just the thrill of it all.
Because it's something new.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Thing, if you put, you know, rules and regulations on those kind of things, then, you know, you're going to get the innuendo of it all the time. If you outrightly just say, all right, do whatever you want, they get bored because they make fools of themselves. Very much like, say, cable TV in New York is nothing but swearing and tits and arse, and it's as boring as you could possibly ever hope to be. There's no fun anymore in it.
You haven't found anything interesting on cable TV at all?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Is that right?
Absolutely terrible. HBO promised to be really good, but it ended up to be just films for old ladies. And,
is that right?
yeah.
Huh.
Nothing more than just an average program type orientated thing.
You're just basically negatively disposed towards the content of like cable TV in New York, not the system itself.
Not the system, no. I love the system. I mean, that's freedom there. That's the media. I love TV. I like the idea of it. It's a great way of informing people. It's an opportunity that's being abused. And, well, I know the major networks have a hell of a lot to do with that as well, because they don't want the competition. So as bad as the program can possibly be, the more they'll like it. You know, that's business, isn't it? Access. It's very easy for the major networks to hire the worst, ugliest, awful people they can to go and fill in all the slots and just make the whole thing look like a pile of rubbish.
Big question. What do you associate with the word enemy?
There's an English magazine called the NME, New Musical Express. That's in this is a joke, but it's in the words to anarchy. It's not enemy, it's the NME.
Enemy.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
A contract with NME actually.
Yeah.
Run NME interviews.
Well, I'll take it all back then, shall I? No, I've told them that a long time ago.
He
says they have very good interviews, good articles.
Yeah, they do, from time to time. But the trouble with English journalism is that there's a lot of snobs and people that don't know what they're talking about, who condemn you with their silly little critique opinions that are just utterly irrelevant. You know, like they'll judge a live performance by what you wear, because they don't like the audience, because the bar wasn't open, and there'll be no mention about the gig. Well, what was the music like? What songs did they play? And I hate that about English journalism.
Are people at NME the worst offenders, or
no? Actually, they're the least offensive of the lot. But I used NME because, well, they gave us our first interview, so it's tongue in cheek.
No, well, that's a pretty bad situation over there. I want to ask you about journalism in Britain. It seems to feel that there's the pattern among the critics over there is to cut down, criticize, tear apart any bands that make it.
Yeah,
do nothing to stand behind.
No, they don't. You see, what they do is they build you up and then they knock you down when you get successful.
Why though?
I don't know. Jealousy.
Malicious.
Just malicious, and it's very ugly and it ruins everything. I mean, they just make everything just so disinteresting. I mean, that's why English music papers are not bought by a lot of people.
Oh, they aren't?
No. I mean, if they sell 100,000, that's a big deal.
Is that right?
Yeah, and that's in a country of 56 million. That's nothing.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think, generally speaking, really only people in the trade seem to buy it, just to read about themselves. So it's very snobbish and very inaccurate.
The turnover is very quick there in terms of trends and whatnot. Does that have anything to do with it? That sort of attitude?
Well, they're partly responsible for that kind of preening. They build you up to put you down, quite frankly. And if you don't make it, then you're their darlings, and they'll love you forever. And then they'll despise the general human being race for not agreeing with them. But the minute they do agree, then you're not their darling anymore. You've taken that band away from them. They love cults. The papers there.
Are they all the same?
Yeah. Generally speaking.
Are there any equality there?
No, because there's no professional standard for a journalist there. They don't need any qualifications. Generally, the best way to get a job as a journalist in England on the music papers is to know someone.
It's all very cliquish now.
Yeah, very. And very snobby. And that's why all the writing tends to be a rip-off of the Lester Bangs way of doing things.
You said we could go on talking, but he wants you to do it horizontally.
I'd love to. You don't know how much I'd love to. Great. My kind of man.
We're going to take you out and bury you afterwards, of course.
Really?
We're just getting you ready. So the people in England read a lot of American publications then?
Lester Bangs was introduced via Nick Kent. That kind of thing. That sarcasm first and everything else after.
Well, the sarcasm there has...
But the English like that because they're a snob race. It's all about condemning everything. I do it all the time. But I know what I'm talking about. That's the difference.
I don't know what it is. Very symbolic.
I have become an object dart.
Yeah.
それでね、
被害を被ったという。Have you ever become the serious victim of their malice?
Oh, I don't think they could compare with me. What can they say? I mean, my name's rotten. There's nothing you can say about me.
Anything ever damaged?
I was called nice once.
You're kidding. No.
That was damaging. That upset me.
Did they have any effect though on
No, of course not. They're irrelevant.
Completely.
But they do hurt a lot of people.
How?
People of a weaker disposition.
By condemning them?
Yeah. I mean, they can be very bitchy. Let's see if I can give you an example. Oh yeah. The singer of Queen,
Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, the title of his interview was "Is this man a prat?" Answer: Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, and then they had a picture of him in tights going, "Freddie Mercury bringing ballet to the masses." So I mean, you can well understand that he wasn't very pleased, because I mean that's just being a cunt for the sake of it. There are people out there who like him, I suppose. As a music paper, their job is to inform, not condemn. So I won't follow their shit system. Don't need it. I don't need to be slagged off morning, noon and night by a bunch of idiots that don't know nothing.
Are you able to keep up with what's happening in Britain now that you're in New York?